Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Bonsai Blacksmith. Today I have a few plants that are in desperate need of pruning. Some are recent additions that you're familiar with. Some are some older additions you haven't seen in a while. So I'm going to sharpen up my shears here real quick, and let's get started. First things first, let's address the elephant in the room, the massive willow. This is the Chilean willow. I left this branch here. As you can see, this branch here. I'll zoom up for you. Perhaps you can see that better now. There's a branch right here. And on this branch, we left this as a sacrificial branch. And the tree is growing so prolifically that, let me zoom back a little bit. The tree is growing so well that we're going to go ahead and clip that so these smaller branches down low have a chance to grow. So that's my method behind my madness there. So big cut coming up. Could probably make its own willow with it, but that's what I took off, this massive piece. I'll put that over there. It's not woody, so I doubt it will root, but worth a shot. So you can see now the willow's a lot calmer. I'll give a close-up on that and show you what I'm doing. So you can see here that we got some back budding growing up down here. And with the back budding, I'm going to allow it to happen to help thicken this trunk down below. I'm not sure if I want these branches here, but again, these are for thickening. I'll probably even cut this one off now, because the way this really weeps, it needs as much height as you can give it. So I think taking off these lower branches actually is the way to go. Like sacrificially leaving them there for the short term, but long term they're not going to stay. Like, see how long this one goes off the camera here. This is considered short. So I might actually go ahead and cut that. You look at the leaf structure here a little closer. See, they're not exactly apart from it. They're kind of like an offset. So, and they do, like an olive, sometimes point up and down, but not always. See what else we could do here to help with the chaos. Right now, I'm curious just to see how this develops without cutting it anymore. I might go ahead and take this guy back some, just for the sake of some more balance. We'll just see how that grows. Let's all go on to the next tree. The next tree we have here, or plant, because this is really a bush, is an arrowleaf cedar. The people that have been following me the longest now will recognize this from the earlier videos. It's just a weed I captured from my yard and turned into a bonsai. Check out how much the trunk has developed right there. So we call this the whomping willow because I got this kind of hand structure here that I'm going to develop in the pom-poms, but I got to cut this back because it likes to grow long internodes, as you can see. So these are fairly long, so let's go ahead and cut those back just real quick. There's this here. I'm just looking for the shortest internodes and the most potential for ramification here. Nothing new with this strategy on this tree. I encourage you to go back in the playlists if you're interested and see how I carefully select how I'm going to prune this in general. So I see some budding in there. I'm going to take advantage of that. Oops. I'm going to have to sharpen these a little bit better than I did. That's what happens when you take your nice pruners and you use it to cut the roots. The soil and the roots will just destroy the edge. So you're going to keep a nice edge on these for general foliage pruning. All right. Well, I think after this here, that's it for this particular tree. Give you a zoom on that. There you go. So that's what's going on with the whomping willow. See how that develops over time. So here's another old timer on the channel. This is the mascarene leaf stalk flower, or long stalk flower from the Indian Ocean. It's usually a weed, but I've been training it into a bonsai. It's got a nice reddish trunk, and it's very prolific, and it's always making more of itself everywhere over the garden, but that's just the nature of this. So I'm going to go ahead and do some generalized pruning, isolate the long segments. We'll zoom up on that. Here we go. Maybe we can, there we go, that's a little bit better. You can see what's going on. So I'm going to just untangle this, look for these long, unnecessary shoots. It did defoliate a little bit. I don't know why. Not sure why it did that, but this is the result. There's a lot of defoliation. It came back strong and have these long shoots. It came back strong with these long shoots, but I don't want those. I really don't want those at all. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of those. Down here, get rid of that. And see how it back buds. That's all I have for hope on this. This tree isn't really bonsai'd, so seeing how this progresses is always going to be an interesting thing. I'm going to take off some of this dead wood here from previous back prunings and give you a nice zoom on this. Now you're already on zoom, never mind. So that's basically what I'm going to do to this for now. You can tell that it's developing a nice trunk now. It's not such a whippy looking seedling. It still looks like a seedling, but it's not as whippy. So let's go on to the next tree. A little bit more of this is required. I gotta use some sandpaper to get that rust off, but I don't recommend you guys doing this freehand. I have some experience with this. Now here is a bonsai in training that you'll remember. This was from a large cutting, a root cutting that I had grown and trimmed in a previous video. If you haven't seen that, I recommend checking that out. But that's what we've got off there. We got this shoot and this shoot growing off. So I'm going to trim them both back to help with ramification. So let's zoom up on that, get a better idea what's going on. So I like this facing up, so I'm going to snip that. Now the Bougainvillea, this is I want to say this is purple, but it could be a red one. It's either red or purple, but they're all the same in how they grow, except for their leaf size. It grows like a vine, but you can train it into a bonsai, as many of you already know. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this back to there. So yeah, that's a pretty drastic cut there, as you can see. There isn't much left there, but it's going to do okay. So let's move on to showing you what's going on with the cuttings and the seedlings. So this is going to act as part 2 for the Ipe Branca seedlings. This is what has survived. I lost 2 to birds, but these are the seedlings here. They're going to mat it down because it just sprayed them down, because the heavy rains we've had all week really got them pretty dirty. As you can see, there's some still dirt on there even after I rinsed them. So they're doing well. I'm going to let them grow another few centimeters or a few inches even, and then once they get a little more established, I'll go ahead and put them in the pots. And here we have my purple Bougainvillea. They're under a red Bougainvillea, that's why you see this. They're semi-shaded so they can establish themselves. So you can see that we've already got sprouts coming off these cuttings. Not that one, certainly that one. And also this one. And this one. Very prolific growers. Yep, every cutting is starting to grow. So, except for one. Sometimes it's just a late bloomer, but that just gives you an idea. This is only 2 weeks after they've been cut and put into the soil. That's pretty fast. So, if you're looking at growing your own Bougainvillea from cuttings, highly recommended. So here's the final plant I'm going to show you. No trimming today, just wanted to give you an update on my Shohin red Bougainvillea. This is a cutting from last year and it's done its first bloom. It's kind of closed up because it's the end of the day here, but just wanted to show you what that looked like. I know some of my followers were really anxious to see what my Shohin Bougainvillea looked like. I'm not going to let it grow much larger than this ever. so it can keep its designation as Shohin. But there you have it. A beautiful, beautiful little tree. So I went ahead and pruned basically the lesser known, more weed-like herbaceous plants in my bonsai garden, like the arrowleaf cedar and the mascarene island flower. Those are just considered common weeds, but I always wanted to explore the feasibility on how to make them into bonsai. But in regards to other trees, I'm very happy with the Chilean willow, how fast it grows. It's very, very prolific. I'm very happy with the germination rate on the Ipe Branca seeds. I could develop every one of those into bonsais themselves over time. You'll see more of them in the future, maybe within the next 12 months. And as well as this little Shohin, which I'm going to take care of. Again, this is from a root cutting. So if you are interested in making your own Bougainvillea bonsais, I suggest doing them from cuttings. They're very, very prolific growers. They want to live, they want to grow. And there's many different colors. You don't even have to go with red. But I'm very satisfied with how this tree turned out. If you have any questions or comments, please put them in the comment section below. Consider liking and subscribing for moral support. And until next time, take care.